Well, Taha, I'm sorry, but you know, if you lose, at least you know who's on Tinder and who's single. And I guess if I lose, I still have your girlfriend. Okay, so I'm an academic researcher, and this is the wrong font. This is horrible. This is supposed to be Futura. Okay, so I'm an academic researcher, and one of the great things about academia is that we're kind of rewarded for our brain sweat by getting to travel to places for free. Like a lot of the people in here are here because they worked hard on a paper and they got rewarded by traveling to this beautiful city of Cologne. Yeah, so cheers to that. And in a similar vein, I recently traveled to Mexico City to attend the Wikimania conference in last July, and yes, there you go. It was an absolutely great conference. You know, everyone was having such a good time. The hotel had a great pool. There was a trip organized to the Aztec pyramids. You know, the street tacos in Mexico City are the best in the world, and the same goes for the tequila, obviously, and the Mexican wrestling. So a great conference, and just the way they should all be, or at least that's what I was inferring from all the GChat messages that came into my account while I was myself locked away in my hotel room, frantically writing a paper for yet another conference that whose paper submission deadline happened to take place exactly during the time I was attending the Wikimania conference in Mexico. It was so hectic. 3 days and 3 nights I was locked away in my room. Like a solitary, like a hermit, and I was hacking away at that paper from 6 a.m. to midnight, leaving the room just twice a day to grab a quick and unenjoyable bite in the conference lobby. And I felt like an idiot because there I was in Mexico City, supposed to in a city that I had always wanted to go, and I was supposed to reap the rewards for all my hard work. And then I was working on another paper, and wasn't enjoying it at all, while everyone else was having fun. All right, so and the most preposterous thing about it was that I had come to sunny Mexico from San Francisco, and all of this happened in the summer. And as Mark Twain famously said, the coldest winter I've ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. So this is a photo of the Golden Gate Bridge in July, and it's cold, it's windy. You always need to wear a sweater. It's quite a sad affair, and so the absolute absurdity was that the conference that I was writing the paper for while I was in Mexico was in San Francisco, of all the places. So absolutely retarded. So the conference is called Wisdom, but that was no wisdom at all. Okay, so after submitting that paper, I really felt empty and exhausted and overwrought, and I told myself, man, it hasn't always been that way. You haven't always done things in such a rushed frenzy. So the question was I just kind of suffering from postpartum depression? Or was it really the case that my working mode has become more stressed and hectic and compressed over the course of my academic career? And then I realized that I could answer this question by doing some very simple data analysis, namely of the SVN, the logs of the SVN server, where our group in Stanford is writing all their papers. So who in here does not know what SVN is? Okay, so I need to explain this briefly. SVN is like a software that allows several people to collaborate on the same documents, and everyone makes changes to the document, and then they commit it to the central server, and then you can download the most up-to-date version to your local computer and update it. But the gist is that by analyzing these logs, we can get an idea about how the papers are growing over time, because every time someone commits their local version, we can check how long the paper is at that point, and then we can see how it grows over time. Alright, and the resulting plots look like this. On the x-axis here, you have the days to go to the paper submission deadline, which is at 0 here. And on the y-axis, you have the bytes or the characters that are in the paper. And this dashed line here corresponds to roughly 10 pages. So for a lot of academic conferences, this is the goal that you're trying to reach. And the time runs in Arabic or Hebrew style from right to left. So that means we're relaxed on the right, and we get more and more stressed as we come towards the left, towards the deadline. Right? Okay, so here is the first paper I ever wrote as a PhD student. As you can see, I had nearly half of it written 2 weeks before the deadline, and then I made roughly constant, continuous linear progress between then and the deadline. This is my paper number 2. You see, it grew roughly equally fast. And this is basically my life for the first 30 years of my life. I always liked to have stuff done well ahead of time, and be industrious early on, such that I could then coast calmly and smoothly over the finish line. My mom tells me that I even crawled out of her a bit early, probably for that reason. And all right, so this is but things changed a bit in my 3rd year of PhD. As you can see, this paper here, this purple paper, got basically written in 6 days from scratch. And then I don't want to bother you with too many of these curves, so this is, we're fast forwarding now to my 5th year of PhD. Here we see that this paper got written in even less time, just about 5 days. And then it gets worse and worse. So here in my 6th year of PhD, that paper got written in 3.5 days from scratch. So this is 10 pages, it was quite insane. Okay, so now this yellow curve is the paper that I wrote in Mexico City while everyone else was having tequila and tacos by the pool. And as you can see, I was kind of having my own version of tequilas and tacos by the pool by taking 6.5 days rather than only 3.5 days for writing that paper. But still, it's a far shot from the calm old days where I was taking over 2 weeks. Okay, so a refreshing outlier was this paper that we wrote this year for the conference, and oh boy, really? Well, you gotta subtract the thing that I said to Taha in the beginning. Okay, so the point is, this paper was a refreshing outlier. We had it written basically 2 weeks ahead of the deadline, and that paid off. It won an award. So you can actually imagine what this paper in blue, which was written in 2.5 days, must have received in terms of reviews. Must have been horrible, right? But that's not true. This paper, written by my buddy Ashton Anderson, also won a review. So it doesn't seem to matter how long you take to write the paper. So this got me thinking, how far can we push this? How fast can we possibly write an academic paper and still get it accepted to a serious conference? So kind of what's the Schwarzschild radius of academic paper writing? And so I did a little bit of research, and I found this guy. Meet Mark Kislingbury, the fastest typist in the world. This guy can type 360 words per minute. That is 6 words per second, way faster than I've been speaking here. And so this is what we as academics should aspire to. Let's not settle for any less. There's been way too much of a focus on results in academia. We need to start thinking about the good life too. We need to. Yes.
Thank you.